The alien fleet waited in silence. They hovered at the edge of a quiet star system, far from their own empire, far from any known danger. Their mission was simple. They had received a signal, a weak human transmission. From their knowledge, humans were new to the stars, weak and young compared to ancient galactic powers. They expected a small ship to come, perhaps a shuttle carrying diplomats, perhaps a freighter filled with trade goods. Something fragile, something harmless. For years, the aliens had studied humanity from a distance. Reports said humans were still learning. They built colonies but only on nearby worlds. Their warships were smaller, slower, and weaker than what the galaxy had seen for centuries. At least that was the belief. The fleet commander, tall and thin with skin like pale stone, waited with calm arrogance. He spoke to his officers in a voice full of confidence. "Be patient. The humans will arrive soon. They will bend to our terms. They will beg for peace when they see our ships." The others nodded. Dozens of warships floated around him, their hulls glowing faint blue. Their weapons were ready, but they did not expect to use them. Why fight a race that could not possibly resist? Moments stretched into hours. Then a light appeared, a single dot in the black sky growing larger with each second. The aliens leaned forward. Some laughed. "There, see? A shuttle." As expected, the dot grew brighter, larger, too large. It did not move like a shuttle. It did not shine like a weak freighter. It carried weight, power, and something else. Something the aliens could not explain. The commander frowned. He whispered, "That is no shuttle." When the ship finally came into view, silence fell across the alien fleet. Before them was a giant, a battleship darker than space itself. Its hull lined with weapons, its surface layered with thick armor that shimmered faint silver. The ship radiated power as if the void itself bent around it. The aliens had never seen anything like it. Whispers filled their channels. "This cannot be human. They don't have ships of this size. It must be stolen, or something else," but it was human. On its side, painted in bold white letters, was the mark, Earth Defense Fleet. Inside the battleship, the crew moved like a single machine. Men and women at their stations, calm yet sharp, their eyes fixed on screens, hands steady on controls. They knew what was at stake. They had been sent here not as diplomats, not as explorers, but as a warning. Earth had listened to the galaxy's whispers. They had heard the insults, the threats, the laughter. They had seen colonies attacked, humans kidnapped, human pride crushed. And Earth had decided, no more. So they built this battleship in secret. Forged it with the strongest metals. Powered it with engines that could outrun light. Armed it with weapons no alien empire could match. This was not just a ship. It was Earth's answer. Back in the alien fleet, fear began to spread. Their commander tried to stay calm. "Do not panic. It is one ship against many. We still have the advantage," but his voice betrayed a small crack of doubt. He could feel it. Something dangerous was about to happen. The battleship slowed, coming to a stop right before their fleet. It did not fire. It did not move aggressively. It only waited. A transmission came through, a human voice, calm, cold. "You expected weakness. You expected a shuttle. What you face is Earth's shield and Earth's sword. Leave now or you will not leave at all." The alien ships went silent. Their commander froze. This was no trembling species begging for mercy. This was a predator standing tall, daring them to make the first mistake. The aliens had underestimated humanity. They had thought of them as children in the stars. But what floated before them was proof of something else, something older empires had forgotten. Humans were dangerous when threatened, and this was only the beginning. The alien fleet floated in uneasy silence. What had begun as a mission of arrogance was turning into something else, something heavy. They had expected to frighten humans into surrender, but instead they were the ones who felt a cold weight pressing against their thoughts. The massive human battleship, black as night and towering over all their vessels, remained still. No movement, no weapons fire, no rush to attack. Yet the aliens could feel the tension like a storm ready to break. Their commander spoke again, his voice sharp now, no longer calm. "Do not let them see fear. Ready all cannons. If they want to test our strength, then let them pay the price." But in the back of his mind, a question burned. What kind of species hides this kind of weapon until now? His officers exchanged glances. None spoke. None dared. Inside the human battleship, the crew also waited. The captain stood at the command deck, watching the alien formation. The aliens had more ships, yes. Dozens of cruisers and destroyers. Their numbers were enough to intimidate any normal fleet. But numbers alone could not decide this battle. Not today. This battleship had been designed for exactly this moment, to show the galaxy that Earth would never again be treated as prey. The captain's voice broke the silence. They are preparing weapons. They want to see if we'll flinch. Let them. The crew obeyed without hesitation, shields activated, glowing faintly across the armored hull. Weapon systems hummed, charging quietly but not yet firing. It was like a coiled beast ready but patient, waiting for the first strike. The aliens, however, grew restless. Their sensors scanned the battleship again and again. No matter how much data they collected, the results were the same. The ship was beyond anything they had faced. Its armor was too thick. Its power core too vast, its weapons too advanced. "Commander," one officer whispered, "it could destroy us all." The commander snapped back. "It is still only one ship," but his claws tightened on the armrest of his chair. He did not believe his own words. Then the human voice came through the comms again, steady and without fear. "Final warning. Turn back now. Leave human space or your fleet will not survive." The words hit like a blade. Some of the aliens shifted uncomfortably. They had never been given a warning like this before. Other species begged for mercy, offered tribute, or simply fled. But the humans stood firm. The commander made his choice. His pride would not allow retreat. His voice thundered across his fleet's channels. "Open fire!" Dozens of alien ships lit up the void with beams of energy and torrents of plasma. The black sky turned into a storm of color as the weapons streaked toward the lone human battleship. Inside, alarms sounded, but the crew did not panic. The captain raised one hand. "Hold position." The first wave of fire struck the shields. The battleship shuddered, but only slightly. The glowing barrier absorbed the impact, bending but not breaking. Blast after blast poured onto the ship, yet still it remained. The aliens fired harder, desperate to break through, but their efforts only exposed the truth: they could not. Then the captain lowered his hand. His voice was calm, almost cold. "Return fire." The battleship's weapons came alive. Giant cannons rotated, missile bays opened. Energy lances charged with a deep hum that shook the void. The first shot ripped across space like a burning spear. It struck an alien cruiser head-on, tearing through its shields and splitting it in half. Fire and debris scattered as the ship broke apart, silenced in seconds. The second shot followed immediately, slamming into another vessel. This time the explosion lit up the fleet like a dying sun. The aliens froze. They had never seen such destructive power, not from a single ship. Panic spread. Officers shouted, crews scrambled. Some ships broke formation trying to flee. Others fired blindly, their weapons bouncing off the battleship's shields. The human crew moved like a single machine. Every shot they fired found its mark. Every missile unleashed devastation. Alien ships that had seemed mighty only moments before now crumbled like paper in fire. On the alien command ship, the commander's voice cracked. This is impossible." But it was happening. His fleet, once confident, was being erased. Not slowly, not after a long struggle, but in minutes. Still, the battleship did not push forward recklessly. It did not chase every fleeing vessel. It struck only when needed, precise and controlled, as if to make a point. This was not a wild beast fighting for survival. This was a predator showing its strength. Finally, the human voice returned over the comms, sharp as iron. "Do you understand now? This was your choice. You came with weapons. You leave with wreckage. Go. Before Earth decides you should not leave at all." The commander stared at the giant ship on his screen. His fleet was broken, his pride shattered. For the first time, he felt what humans had meant all along. Earth was not a victim. Earth was a power that no empire could ignore, and this was only the second warning. The alien fleet was in chaos. Ships scattered in every direction, trying to escape the rain of fire. The black human battleship hovered like a shadow of death, striking with terrifying precision. Each shot it fired found its target, ripping through hulls and shields as if they were made of glass. Alien crews screamed across the comms. "Shields are failing. We've lost engines. Another cruiser gone." The commander on the alien flagship watched his fleet collapse, his pride, his certainty all burning away in the fire. He had entered this system expecting an easy show of power. Instead, he now saw his empire's arrogance turn to ashes. But he could not surrender, not yet. His voice roared, filled with desperate fury. Focus everything on their engines. Cripple them. They cannot fight if they cannot move. Dozens of alien vessels turned, firing in unison. Plasma bolts and lances of energy streaked toward the battleship's rear thrusters. The void itself seemed to burn from the assault. Inside the human ship, the impact rattled the hull. The shields flared brighter, groaning under the pressure. For the first time, the crew felt the sting of the enemy's full might, but the captain's voice remained calm. They are desperate. They want us to retreat. We will show them what desperation costs. The order went out. New weapons unlocked. Massive missile bays opened along the battleship's sides, each carrying warheads no alien empire had ever seen. They launched in waves, streaking across space like burning comets. The alien ships tried to scatter, tried to shoot them down, but it was useless. One by one, the missiles found their marks. Explosions bloomed across the void, turning proud warships into flaming wrecks. Entire formations vanished in fire. A destroyer tried to ram the battleship in a final act of defiance. The massive ship barely moved. Its side cannons swiveled, unleashed a single pulse, and the destroyer disintegrated before it could even strike. The humans were not just fighting. They were teaching a lesson. The alien commander's mind raced. His fleet was dying. His empire would demand answers. And worse, other empires would see this. The humans had revealed a weapon that shifted the balance of power. The galaxy itself would tremble. On the human bridge, the crew continued their work with precision. Every alien movement was tracked. Every weakness was exploited. But still, the captain's orders were measured. Do not destroy them all. Leave survivors. They must carry the message. Some officers glanced at one another. They understood. Total annihilation would erase the fleet, but survival would spread fear far wider. Another alien cruiser exploded. Another fled into the darkness. The once mighty fleet of dozens was now reduced to a broken handful, limping away, scattering into the void. The commander, his pride shattered, gave the order no one thought he ever would. All remaining ships, retreat. It was not strategy. It was survival. The human battleship did not chase them. Instead, it stood silent, its massive frame glowing faintly with the heat of battle. The stars around it glittered as if bowing to its presence. The alien survivors fled into the black, carrying with them the story of what had happened here. A story no one would believe at first. That a young species dismissed as weak and primitive had unleashed a single ship strong enough to break an empire's fleet. The human captain stood at the command deck, watching the last enemy ship vanish from sensors. His eyes narrowed. They will return. Not just them, others. The galaxy now knows we are not prey. They will test us again. One officer asked quietly, "And if they come with greater numbers?" The captain's voice was cold but steady. "Then they will learn. Earth does not build ships to fight wars. Earth builds ships to end them." Silence followed his words. Not silence of fear, but silence of respect. Every crew member knew what they had just done. They had not only won a battle, they had written the first line of a legend. Outside, wreckage floated through the stars. Pieces of broken alien ships drifted like silent witnesses to the day humanity stood unshaken. But far away, across countless systems, whispers had already begun. The tale spread from one ship to another, from one empire to another. Whispers of a battleship forged in secret, a weapon of Earth that could not be stopped. Some laughed at the rumors. Others felt fear crawl into their hearts, and some began to plan, for they knew this truth. When one empire falls, others take notice. And when humans showed strength, the galaxy would never be the same again. The battle was over, but the war was only beginning. Wreckage from the destroyed alien fleet still drifted in the void. Broken ships spun silently, glowing faintly as their cores burned out. The black human battleship moved slowly among the ruins, its vast frame untouched, its shields dimming as systems powered down. Inside, the crew worked in silence. They knew victory had been achieved, but they also knew what came next. No empire in the galaxy would ignore what had happened here. Word would spread like fire, and it did. Across distant star systems, alien councils gathered in secret chambers. Holographic maps displayed the site of the battle, littered with wreckage. Reports from survivors told the same unbelievable story. One human ship had destroyed a fleet that should have crushed it. The news spread fast. Some empires mocked the tale, dismissing it as lies from a humiliated commander. Others took it seriously, their leaders whispering in fear. If humans could build one ship like that, how many more could they create? The galaxy's balance trembled. On the alien homeworld of the defeated fleet, anger roared louder than fear. The Empire's High Council demanded revenge. Pride would not allow them to be shamed by a primitive species. They gathered allies, promising rewards, promising victory. Soon, whispers of a great alliance formed, a coalition of species who wanted to end humanity before it could rise any further. Meanwhile, on Earth, leaders and military commanders received the reports with grim satisfaction. The secret was out now. The galaxy knew of their battleship, and there would be no going back. In the great command hall under Earth's defense headquarters, voices echoed as strategies were made. They will not forgive this. They will come in greater numbers. They will bring weapons we have not seen. But the captain of the battleship stood before them, calm and unshaken. His voice was clear. Let them come. This ship was not built as Earth's only shield. It was built as Earth's message. If they want war, we will show them what war means. The leaders exchanged uneasy glances, but they could not deny the truth. The galaxy had underestimated humanity, and now it would have to face the cost. Back aboard the battleship, the crew prepared for the inevitable. Engineers reinforced the shields, calibrated weapons, and loaded new missile payloads. Pilots drilled endlessly. Medics stocked supplies. Every man and woman knew that their survival was not just for themselves. It was for Earth. The days passed in tense quiet. Then came the signal. A massive fleet was approaching. Not one empire this time, but many. Dozens of ships, maybe hundreds, from different races and worlds, bound together by fear and pride. They had united for one goal: to crush humanity before it could become a true power. The human battleship detected them long before they arrived. Their formation was massive, spreading across light years, a storm of steel and fire moving toward Earth's borders. Inside the battleship's command deck, the crew studied the incoming readings. The silence was heavy. Some swallowed nervously. Some clenched their fists. One officer whispered, "This is more than a fleet. This is an armada." The captain's eyes narrowed. "Then we will treat it as such. Send the message to Earth. Prepare all defenses. And signal the coalition." The officer paused. "What coalition?" The captain's lips curved into a cold smile. Ours, because Earth had not been idle. For years, while the galaxy mocked them, humanity had quietly forged alliances of its own. Small races oppressed and bullied by the great empires had been watching closely. They had suffered under alien rule, but now they saw something new: hope. If humans could stand against giants, perhaps they too could rise. Signals returned. Ships began to appear beside the battleship, smaller than Earth's Titan, but many in number. Freighters refitted with cannons, colony ships reinforced with armor, fighters flown by free people who wanted revenge. They were not as strong as the enemy, but their courage was real. And at the heart of this growing coalition stood Earth's battleship, a dark spearhead ready to pierce the storm. As the alien armada drew closer, the void shimmered with tension. On one side, the combined might of ancient empires, proud and determined to crush humanity forever. On the other, a single battleship and the spark of rebellion it had ignited across the stars. The crew of the battleship looked out at the endless swarm of hostile ships. Fear was natural, but something stronger burned in their hearts: defiance. The captain gave the final order, his voice steady as steel. "All stations ready. This is not just Earth's fight anymore. This is the fight for every world that dares to be free. Hold the line. Show them what humanity means." The stars waited. The armada advanced, and the void prepared for a battle that would decide the future of the galaxy. The stars burned with war. The alien armada filled the void. Hundreds of warships advancing in perfect formation. Their weapons glowed with deadly energy. Their engines pulsed like a storm of suns. It was the combined pride of empires. Dozens of species, countless resources, all focused on one goal: the destruction of Earth. Against them, the human battleship stood at the center of its smaller coalition. Around it floated ships from oppressed worlds, rusty, improvised, patched together. They looked weak compared to the alien armada, Yet their weapons were armed, their shields ready, their crews filled with a courage born from centuries of suffering. The alien commanders laughed when they saw them. Pathetic, one sneered. They hide behind one battleship and a swarm of scrap. But they were wrong. The human battleship was not just a war machine. It was a symbol, and symbols could ignite fire in the darkest places. The Armada opened fire first. A wave of plasma, missiles, and energy beams lit the void, screaming toward the human line. The smaller coalition ships shook under the first impact. Some shields shattered, some hulls cracked. A freighter-turned-warship exploded, vanishing into dust. But then the human battleship moved. Its shields flared to life, brighter and stronger than before. Its cannons unleashed hell. Massive lances of energy tore across the battlefield, ripping through cruisers and battleships with terrifying precision. Each shot silenced dozens of enemy voices. Focus fire on the human ship. The alien commanders roared. The Armada obeyed. Every weapon turned on the lone Titan. Beams hammered the shields, shaking the battleship to its core. Systems screamed under the strain. The crew felt the weight of 1,000 enemies pressing against them. For a moment, it seemed even Earth's strongest ship might break. Sparks flew on the bridge. Alarms wailed. A shield generator burned out. But the captain's voice cut through the chaos, calm and unbroken. "Hold the line. We are Earth's blade. We do not bend," new orders rang out. The battleship's hidden weapons unlocked. From its sides, vast bays opened, releasing swarms of autonomous drones, tiny hunters armed with plasma charges. They darted into the enemy formation like a cloud of fireflies, striking engines, tearing through weak points, forcing the massive armada to scatter. At the same time, the coalition ships, inspired by the battleship's defiance, surged forward. Freighters rammed enemy destroyers. Fighters weaved through larger ships, striking where shields were weakest. Worlds once broken now struck back, and their courage shook the enemy more than any weapon. Still, the alien armada pressed on. Numbers were their strength, and they had many. The battle stretched into hours, a storm of fire and wreckage consuming the stars. Dozens of coalition ships fell. But so did alien warships, one after another, under the relentless power of Earth's weapon. At last, the alien flagship, massive and golden, emerged at the front of the armada. Its commander sneered. "And this. Destroy the human ship at any cost." The flagship unleashed a superweapon, a beam of raw energy wide enough to swallow cities. It struck the human battleship head-on. Shields shattered, the hull groaned, metal tearing under the pressure. Alarms screamed louder. For the first time, the Titan seemed ready to break. The crew looked to their captain. His face was calm, but his voice was fire. "Bring the main cannon online." At the ship's core, hidden until this moment, a weapon charged. Energy gathered brighter and brighter, pulling power from the engines, from the reactors, from every piece of the battleship. The void itself seemed to tremble. The captain raised his hand. Fire, the main cannon unleashed. A beam of white-hot energy burst forth, wider than mountains, faster than thought. It tore through the void, smashing into the alien flagship. For one heartbeat, the ship resisted. Its shields burned, its armor screamed. Then it exploded in a blast brighter than a sun, fragments scattering into the black. The alien armada froze. Their leader was gone, their pride destroyed. Fear spread like wildfire. The human battleship, scarred but unbroken, turned slowly toward the surviving ships. Its weapons still glowed, ready to fire again. A final message rang out across the comms, carried to every corner of the battlefield. Earth does not kneel. Earth does not beg. Remember this day. Humanity does not fight wars to survive. Humanity ends wars to live. The alien armada broke. Ships fled in every direction. The once mighty coalition of empires collapsed into panic, leaving behind wreckage, flames, and silence. When the void grew quiet again, only one truth remained. Humanity had faced the galaxy's might and stood victorious. The battleship, scarred but alive, turned back toward Earth. Its crew watched the stars with tired eyes, but also with pride. They knew this was not the end. The galaxy would never forget. And from that day forward, a new name was whispered across the stars: humanity, the enders of wars.